Welcome back. Game number 3 is upon us here at the Mobile MPL Invitational Mobile Legends Professional League Invitational. That's what MPL stands for. I'm Noam, and alongside for me is Reptar. Game number 3, Ronin Esports Execration. This is gonna be do or die.
Do or die, and I guess you could really see just how the different styles of Mobile Legends here across all the regions, because we were talking about it along with the Philippine casters, is that, and it's understandable as well, it's agreed upon with all the other broadcast teams and the other regions, that the playstyle of the Philippines when it comes to Mobile Legends is a little bit more different compared to the other regions. Other regions really go for dedicated jungling.
Yeah.
Like really have a dedicated jungler. It's a different look into how Mobile Legends is supposed to be played, and it works out very well for them. And I think that different playstyle that the PH doesn't do as much, that's what won Ronin Esports game number 2. The fact that they had the Saber as a jungler, and just the lineup that they brought out there just shined. That different kind of playstyle in the other regions that the PH doesn't do as much. That's what won Ronin Esports game number 2.
Yeah, and just like what Wolf said earlier on in Analyst Desk, it's more than likely Ronin dragging on the game for each and every single every single one of the heroes that Ronin had to hit the item power spikes, hit the power spikes in general, get the level 16 spikes there for everybody else. And it goes to show that Ronin knows how to play the game well. It was just that game number 1, they just didn't have the right mojo. This might be the mojo that they needed to turn things around for, say, game number 3. And game number 3 is gonna have to be a different story for Execration and Ronin here. If they played the same playstyles during game number 1 or in game number 2, either or would actually just choke.
And with the lineup that Ronin Esports brought out here to win game number 2, I feel like this was them being able to play more of the style that they want to play. Also, are picks that we don't see a lot in the Philippines draft. I'm pretty sure they prepared for it, that they could expect that, okay, we might see a Veil, we might possibly see a Saber here. But I feel like ultimately, if you draft that against a lot of Philippine teams, they will get surprised. But now, we're back into the banning, picking phase. It's the draft for game number 3. Execration on the left, Blue side, Ronin. On the right, red side, Selena and Jawhead. Two really strong supports in this current meta. They are the ones banned out first.
Yeah, Ronin Esports kind of got traumatized by the at the max special Selena. Moving forward, though, it's still going to be a battle of the side lanes here. If they can really band out and exhaust the side lane resources here for the execration or Ronin Esports, it's all going to go downhill.
A lot of possible bans still here. Execration. There's a chance. I don't know. They probably won't ban out the Natalia to keep that as an option available for Chaknu, something that we've seen him play in the past. So they decide to ban out the Brody, and this could mean that Ronin Esports would ban out the Barats or would want to ban out the Barats, unless they're okay with giving that away to Execration. Meaning that if they're gonna be giving the Barats to Execration, expect that Ling might not be banned out here, or even Ronin might ban out the Ling, so that Execration doesn't pick it up for themselves. Yes, you can still play a lineup that has Ling against a lineup that has Barretts and make that work, but in this level it's just really hard to pull off, and we've seen in the past, there have been games where we've seen this is why Barretts is the counter to Ling. So there's a chance we might not see Ling at all in this game.
It's looking like Ronin Esports is focusing on banning Natalia and Selena, telegraphing a potential Farsa pickup here for themselves. Natalia and Selena can really dive in towards the backlines and either get the Abyssal Arrow in, or Natalia straight up assassinates Farsa. That's a viable choice by Ronin Esports, as Lunox gets banned out by Execration. Don't want to go up against the side lane Lunox.
Yeah, we might see a Kadita and Kagura come up in this game now, though, since the Natalia and Selena are banned out, because both of these teams don't have to worry so much about single target heroes for lockdown. Cho is one of the last ones available for that. So that means that opens up the field for a Kagura or a Kadita pick, because they can both escape strong single target crowd control attempts there. As the Alice gets banned by Ronin, again, after playing against that, they don't want to pick that up anymore. So Execution first pick will really determine the flow of the game. There we go. Benny D. Benedetta is the pick for Execration.
And Barats going on to the side of Ronin Esports this time around. So we got the B&B combo, just a la carte, separate sides, no problem. So
You're getting me hungry, man.
I know. I'm hungry for more action, and we're gonna get satiated.
Yeah.
Number 3, as Barats is a unique hero, wherein if anybody dives in on the side of Execration, they'll get gobbled up by Daytona's Welcome, and then spit out.
Yeah, I really hope that Execration saw that coming, to the Barras will just get instantly picked out. Yo, okay, I really wanted to say this earlier, because of the first two bans that the Natalia and Selena getting banned out here. This will just really open up a strong frontline heavy lineup for Ronin Esports. So that's why they wanted to prioritize that, because they know whoever has the stronger frontline tandem in this matchup will win. Akai and the Barretts instantly, that's like a -2, -3 already with the ultimates that they have. That Detona's Welcome -1, Akai is going to be able to take out potentially 1 or 2, maybe even more, if he can get a pin down on the Hurricane. That's strong first 2 picks here by Ronin.
And I'm still going to say Ronin Esports might just go for the Farsa pickup here, because
exactly. Farsa Cho.
Yeah, there you go. If Ronin Esports manages to pick up the Farsa on their side, the Hurricane dance into the Feathered Airstrike is painful on its own. And having Barrett there can easily gobble up the core that we are potentially seeing here. It might be a Benedetta core for now. More than likely, it's going to be a side lane though.
Yeah, I still have this feeling that it's going to be a Benedetta and Cho roaming around, if that is going to be a Cho tank. So they ban out the Ling here for Execration to potentially pick up. So even Ronin is thinking, okay, this Benedetta is either going to go side or either going to go as that roaming type support that Natalia would essentially fill in this type of draft. The respect coming in from Execration, though, we don't want to see Saber anymore.
Yeah.
So sad. Come on, Execration. You could have at least given them the Saber again, so we could have casted the game with the Saber in. But Execration says, you know what? We don't care if you guys didn't see that in game number 2. We saw it. We felt it. We lost. We're banning that out.
Yeah, and Yu Zhong as well, the winning factor for Execration, one of the winning factors during game number 1 is banned out. Now, Lapu Lapu really don't want Ronin Esports to go up against that. That may very well be the best ban here
Mm-hmm.
at this point. Good side laner, Lapu Lapu. No viable side, no side laners yet from the side of Execration, but banning out the Lapu Lapu might just entail Hilda being picked up.
Mm-hmm. Or actually, it could be a little bit more overkill here. They might even pick up the Veil once again. Yes, they're going to be up against the Cho this time around, who can pick that off. But you already have a really good front line zone out here that either one of these two can hold the front line and then at the same time peel for the back line. So yeah, they decide to go for the
call.
Veil. Veil gets picked up here. That gives them the zone and gonna be so much harder for Cho and Benedetta to find the spots that they need to get to just to get to the back line here. Again, whoever has a stronger front line will win this game. It seems like Ronin has that stronger front line, and it was perfectly just accessorized or partnered with that Veil.
And much like what happened in game number 1, where Execration was able to just dive into the back lines without any problems, banning out that Alice, in hindsight now, is one of the best calls they can ever go for, as we see an Borg Lancelot picked up by Execration. Now the backline has a little bit of a problem there.
Mm-hmm. Now you have... Okay, this is now going to be very dependent, once again, still on the front line, but now it's going to be for Ronin to be able to peel their back line really, really well, because the lineup for Execration is... I'd like to call this the... Alright, let's just go in lineup, because you have that X-Borg. Once that Last Insanity is charged up, you're going to want to follow that up by riding the momentum of that Last Insanity. Save your ultimates, save your abilities, your highest damage dealing abilities. So after that Last Insanity pops, you have your stuns, you have your card controls, and your burst to punish Ronin Esports, potentially use their escaping abilities just to get away from that Last Insanity.
And they're going to go for the Hayabusa once again.
Okay, so Hayabusa is going to be going on the side lane. Veil rocking down mid. Barretts or Isan Shin. They're going to be the... Oh, wait, okay, yeah. So it's going to be... Actually, no, yeah, there's a lot of flexibility for this lineup, but it looks like Pekka is going to be rocking that Isan Shin. So that is going to be an Isan Shin carry.
Yeah, and again, it's Isan Shin adding a lot of information game for the side of Ronin Esports. As soon as the Mountain Shocker starts coming in, you will know where each and every single one of the members of Execration will be. Considering the fact that Execration does have very good backline diving capabilities with the X-Borg's Last Insanity, or just with Lancelot's Thorn Rose, Barrett's there to protect them, and even the Mountain Shocker from Yisun Shin dropping down and giving information would be more than enough to keep Ronin alive, at least for the first 10 minutes or so. If we're going to see Execration drag out the game, it's a big problem. Ronin Esports will be able to keep up with the momentum that Execration would start entailing in the late game.
I'll be honest here, it's a very even draft, but I feel like the X factor here to look at would be that Veil, because that Veil blocks a lot of access for the members of Execration to just find their path into the backline, to find their targets. And Ronin Esports, all they need to do in the team fight scenario is to position themselves well enough that they're not too far or too close to the tanks, so that in case there's any trouble, a tank could peel, or Ronin can just use whatever abilities the tank has to just apply the pressure and deal the damage and win the team fight from there.
Look at this early invade by Execration, stealing away the purple, and Chakno trying to steal away this orange buff away from Ronin, or at least buy some time, as Chakno Sagitno will be responding immediately, almost falling down. Savi catching up, backing down, and yeah, this early invade for Execration, they really want to deprive Ronin any possibilities to spike up in the early game.
So we're seeing here a side lane Benedetta with Festival of Blood and Execute. So now Justin has to play his cards right here and be careful, because expect a lot of pressure to fall down here into the bottom lane for Ronin Esports, because Execration, like I said, knows that Justin is going to be the X factor here for Ronin, and if they can pressure him early, which is that they're doing now, they could be able to turn it around. That could be their key.
That could be their key. Justin manages to survive by the skin of his teeth. And yeah, it's way too early to tell, but the way that Ronin Esports has been playing this is that they control the jungle well. I'm not sure if there was a steal that happened on the side, on their purple side, as Silent and the rest of Ronin Esports stealing away the resources there. Over at the top side, bottom side, Chaknu and Mark will not be able to find a kill onto Justin.
Great positioning by Naomi, just doing what tanks do for the longest time, since time immemorial. Hey, stay in that shrub and make sure that I can see if anyone's going to come and gank me here. If Naomi wasn't there, most likely Justin would have gotten taken out there. But now Mark and Kelra, the debut duo of Execration, who had a great game number 1, trying to find momentum here in the bottom lane.
Oh, Kelra immediately popping the ultimate. That's the Thorn Rose to secure the first blood onto the side of Execration. A big presence from Execration here over the bottom side. Pekka just teased a bit with the arrow, and forcing the flicker out from Chakno, actually.
Alecto final blow by Kelra to initiate that, but the final blow, of course, went to Mark with that Thorn Rose. Beautiful play there by the debuting duo of Execration, and so now the pressure is going to be into the bottom lane. Now they've gotten to the point, weirdly enough, is that for Execration, they've gotten to the point where they can't pressure too much into the top side because it's going to be hard to take down that Barrett. But we're seeing here into the bottom lane, Ronin trying to hold on as Execration continue to apply the pressure. It's a 4-man rotation versus 3. They're not going to be able to cut in the wave. Now Execration spent way too much time there. They decide, okay, we're just going to try to go for that turtle. Instead, Ronin, let's see if they have the room to secure it, but they decide to clear the waves instead. Execration playing this real slowly. Ronin might still actually be able to steal this if Silent gets there, but nope, Execration secure the first turtle.
Kelra will go and deal the finishing blow. Not enough though. Force the flicker out, and Ronin manages to survive there. So no conversion for Ronin there for a turret, just to trade out the turtle. Managed to stay out alive as top lane Sagitno, half HP in a dream, force the flicker out there and force it back off. Mark though joining in the fray. Mountain Shaker is gonna get committed by Ronin. Savvy, low on HP, slowly running away. We'll go for the Thorn Rose and will be taken out without any problems.
Now people are probably thinking, why didn't that Hayabusa help? Why was he just going for the farm? Okay, seriously, Hayabusa couldn't do anything in that situation. So good thing that Silent just ran away there and left Savvy to go down.
yeah, it's like, nope, I don't want anywhere near here as the Wave of the Dragon into the feathered airstrike. Thorn Rose misses its mark, but Naomi immediately regretted his decision there. But yeah, if Silent decided to go back there, hey man, I'm going down with you. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what could have happened. But then again, he's like, yeah, bro, I'll see you on the next life.
Yeah, I'm the carry. You respawn anyway. We'll be fine here. Justin, good read there. Almost taken out. Sagitno was able to recall away. So now what we're going to be seeing here from Ronin Esports for the next few minutes is to just really apply the pressure here into mid or top lane, because that's where they have a little bit more of control towards, and that's where the next objective is going to be. Unless they decide to just try to bait out Execration and to going into the bottom lane instead to try to defend that. Whoever wins the team fight here.
Hurricane Dance onto Kelra, but not a lot of follow-throughs there onto Ronin. I'm not sure if Kelra actually has Purify. Oh no, it's Execute.
Yeah.
Manages to flicker out there just in time though.
Yeah, I think he was able to use the second skill to just be able to get away. Wave of the Dragon connects though, and a stun, and the damage by Execration take out the Panda. So no more tank there, but no more Benedetta for Execration. 1-for-1 trade. Ronin, they might want to look into contesting that turtle if they can. They won't be able to break down this bottom lane tower, but turtle still goes to Execration.
Yeah, they wanted to trade out the turtle for the turret. Sure, it's a valiant effort there for themselves, but they could have at least tried to go for a steal. That would have turned the tides here in the mid game at the very least. As the bottom lane wave the dragon onto Pekka. Pekka forced to flicker out. Chakno still chasing him down. Naomi too late to assist. Already forced himself back. Kelra is joining in on the fray. We have Silent just farming out safely in the backline. It's not really paying attention. Well, not paying attention, but you know. I just want my items first, guys.
Yeah, and Ronin seems to be playing it right, and this is the style of ML that we were talking about earlier, where the other members of Ronin will really just try to create space in the map, try to win opportunities there, and if they can't, they'll be fine because their jungler has just been farming this whole time right now. And the beauty about the lineup of Ronin Esports is they have a good 4-man, even 3-man lineup to contest with Execration. They just need to be careful here, and if any of them get caught out in a bad spot, by the way, the Dragon, they have to go back.
Yeah, Kelra got caught, forced to get out of there, use the second skill, made it out alive, and that's a complete disengage. Naomi is always finding the Benedetta with the 1,000-pounder, the blender and the 1,000-pounder. Yeah, but not considering the fact that they haven't not forced out the ultimate, the second skill just to escape, as the Mountain Shocker will be committed just to deter this initial push by Execration over the bottom lane, but they're going to be backing off. Feather Air Strike forces Naomi back. Lots of damage.
So damage indeed, as Agitnu is still trying to hold on to this top lane that eventually goes down. Faraga armor surprisingly still up, just a sliver from going down. Xborg already has his immortality, so that's pretty much all the only item that Xborg needs. But look at that burst damage from the Veil! Telling the world this is why we pick Veil more often than not in the other regions. The burst onto Itomax. Goodbye, Captain.
All things considered, 7 minutes into the game, this has been relatively close. 2,000 goldie by Execration, but doesn't amount to much as Chaknu gets singled out by 4 members of Ronin Esports. Kelra singling out Justin, not a lot of damage, is now being focused on by the rest of Ronin Esports with Pekka and Naomi, managed to take him down. It's a 0-for-2 trade, and this is Ronin getting back their mojo as the shadow kill is committed. Sagitno manages to survive there, barely though.
Barely had to use the immortality, so in the second time around, if Ronin can spot out a fight with the Xborg in there, they have a sure target. That Xborg no longer has that item that brings him back to life. Now, Itomax is going to commit the Feathered Airstrike to clear the waves, and he might have, oh, that was way too close. Again, if Justin caught that out, it would have been big for Ronin Esports. But yeah, again, we're seeing here the power of the Veil and a good rotation by Exa.
Questionable rotate if it is a really good rotate, because they're not going to be able to secure anything off of that. But I just have to highlight as this bit of a standoff, Mexican standoff happens in the river, and the 1,000-pounder blender catches the Farsa, forces the flicker out, flicker in, says Naomi, and he takes down the Farsa. Now Naomi might just pay the price here with that Thorn Rose. Sagitno comes in with the last insanity, fire missiles, not going to be enough, shadow kill enough to kill Sagitno as the rest of Ronin Esports collapse onto Chaknu, gets the knockup, Thorn Rose onto Pekka, immediately gets burst down, force the flicker out of there. Chaknu on the chase though.
Speed is the name of the game here. Whoever gets positioned themselves in crucial... Whoever gets positioned themselves quicker in the key spots here as the Electro final blow gets committed just to get out, if I'm not mistaken, but Ronin don't commit into that fight. Whoever positions themselves first wins and gets a pick off here. Chato almost getting knocked up there. Good thing he was able to dodge that, but the Feathered Airstrike already committed. Justin down to 50. No one's going to full commit here just yet. They go for a soft reset.
And this is Execration. We're seeing the side of Execration that is a little bit careless. We saw that time and time again in the bottom lane. They tried to go for ganks, but then they got knocked off. Sagitno, beautiful Jeet Kundo by Chaknu, but the Hurricane Dance immediately committed to knock him down, force the flicker out, not enough. He's going to get taken out. Feathered Airstrike onto Naomi to try to seal the Litho Wonder or to try to zone the rest of Ronin Esports. Not enough.
Naomi is showing up big here for Ronin Esports. The tank support playing sort of as like a tank carry right now for Ronin Esports. He's not getting the kills, but he's showing up in the moment and bringing the moments that lead to it.
Yeah, and this is converting into a mid lane take by Ronin Esports. Sagitnu and the rest of Execration are trying to defend this. Mark, overstaying his welcome, will not be able to secure that purple buff. Mount Shocker, once again, committed to see where the rest of everybody is. Chaknu, blender connects, no follow-throughs with the 1,000-pounder.
Time and time again, at this point, a lot of eyes should be on Naomi right now and how he's just going around the map. As he might have gotten a pick off on Chaknu. No, Chaknu able to get away, but that bottom lane tower goes down. Ronin takes it.
And this might just be a replay of what happened in game number 2. This might just be exactly what happened during game number 2, where Ronin focused on objective. Maybe it was Execration being careless during game number 2, and we're seeing it repeat itself right now. Multiple engages in the bottom lane where they just audition as what we would say. Eto Max forced back. There goes the Wave Dragon, gets Naomi, but I don't think that's the target that he intended for. Chaknu low on HP. Here comes the last insanity. Sagitnu finds nobody in that fight.
And now Execution, it's a mix of being careless, but then at the same time I feel like they just didn't expect Ronin to rotate so fast. Now we're seeing a much snappier Ronin. We didn't get to see her cast game number 2, but we did see game number 1, and what we saw in game number 1 was Ronin just a little bit slow on the beat. Right now it seems like Ronin has found the rhythm that they needed to take this game.
Chaknu still trying to single out Naomi here. It's like, yeah, we're both tanks. We're gonna face up against each other as the Hurricane Dash and the knockup secures the kill onto Chaknu. The rest of Execration, though, Justin 1 HP in a dream gets taken out. Finally gets taken out. It's a 1-for-2 trade here for the side of Execration. Slowly regaining their momentum, but the shadow kill takes down the Farsa. Now it is a 3 versus 3 situation. Sagitnu, low on HP, blendered in, 1,000-pounder, gets stunned, give it to Silent. And he's back up. Here goes the last insanity. Here goes the final blow onto Silent, but the shadow kill just saves his life. Benedetta trades it out. It's now a 3-for-3 trade. Now down to a 2-for-2 as Thorn Rose manages to survive. Mark running away for his life.
It's a horror
Quad
movie.
Shadow, Kelra trying to be the sacrifice here for themselves. Will be going up against a 1v2, but Chakna is going to be replay. Not actually finally going for the Jeet Kune Do. Saves out Kelra there. But he pays the price for that. Mountain Shaker, once again, into Max, standing all alone. Feathered Airstrike takes down Silent. And now it's the reset that they needed.
And something that I want to point out about Execration here is that we didn't see Mark for a while because Execration sort of, actually no, not sort of, they adjusted their playstyle a little bit more to what Ronin was doing in the early game. They translated that a little bit into the mid so that Lancelot can catch up a little bit more to the farm, and which is why we're seeing Mark at the 3-0 into his stat line, but Ronin gets to secure that Lord.
Yeah, it's a bit of... I wouldn't say it's questionable for Mark to really just focus on farming up in order to catch up to Justin here, but I think did that in the early game, and instead focusing on the gang, focus on giving Mark a lot of the economy that he needs to build up the items, he may just be able to burst out anybody from the side of Ronin Esports, but we didn't see that happen. They're adjusting it now in the mid game, which I feel like is a bit too late.
Yeah, the problem here for Execration now is that, yes, they also have a good 4-man lineup to go around, get pickoffs, potentially win a skirmish. But again, time and time again, we were saying Naomi just spot out Chaknu, who's sitting at 0-4-2, and Chaknu's Cho. Chaknu's Wave the Dragon is absolutely key here for Execration to potentially win skirmishes and team fights.
And this Lord, because of that team fight earlier on by Ronin, gets secured by themselves. The Lord is being focused down as the top lane inhibitor turret. Gonna go down, tier 2 inhibitor turret, going down, almost going down as well, and Ronin up for the siege. Hayabusa split pushing over to the bottom lane. It is doom for Execration this time around. It's going to be the defense of a lifetime for themselves.
Yeah, Ronin Esports. Let's see what the Akai can do here. Sagitu gets slowed, but the last insanity pops off, but just to avoid damage, barely any damage at all. The Veil damage is going to miss as well, so Execration can breathe a little bit easier, and they can reset just a little bit to defend.
Yeah, but here comes a beautiful Hurricane Dance onto 2. Chaknu gets the Jeet Kune Do onto 3, but it's not enough. HPs are down, and the Max Force to respawn a little bit early. He gets taken out. Savvy, Daytona's welcome onto Sagitnu, Thorn Rose onto Savvy. And another last insanity here finally takes down Savvy. HPs are lower, Silent and Pekka as well because of that last insanity. Forced them back. And this is Execration still alive.
Yeah, good news for Filipino fans there because Execration has a lineup that's good in the defense, especially if Sagitnu can just time his last insanity really well. And we saw because of the cooldown, it barely has any cooldown at this point of the game there. He can get it back here. And if they can just time it a little bit where they have a bit of insurance in the Farza Feathered Airstrike, let's say Xborg used the last insanity already, but we have the Farza to potentially help us defend a little bit more if they get a little bit too close to the base. If Execration can really just play that on the defensively really well, they might be able to turn this around.
Oh, Naomi catches Kelra as well as the knockup there by Veil. And now it's Execration slowly trading things out. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Mountain Shocker once again committed. The only problem I'm seeing here for Execration is they can go for fights as long as they want. All the lanes are pushed up towards their side though. Top lane tier 1, top lane inhibitor turret is down. The minions flooding in towards the top side will overpower the side that's coming in from Execration. They can't push out unless they equalize the lane priority here.
The biggest question as well for Execration is, will they have enough burst? Yeah, they have the Feathered Airstrike, but they're up against a Barat and an Akai. Akai, we don't know him to be as a very tanky hero, but people forget he is a pretty tanky hero. The Barats, even more so than that. The damage is the biggest question here for Execration at this point in the game. Good news though is that both carries, whatever next big team fight we're going to see here is going to be a test to see which carry was able to farm up fast enough because they're both clean on the death sheet right now. 4-0 and 3 for Mark, 5-0 and 1 for the Silent. The difference maker here could be Mark's killing spree to heal him up in team fights, which could potentially mean he has a longer lasting presence in a team fight compared to the Hayabusa, who's too reliant on the skills to be able to avoid damage.
And man, Execration, they're trying to go for the 18-minute mark win condition that they have, but the way that I'm seeing this, it's Ronin hitting their 18-minute mark win condition for themselves as Naomi tries to go for the blender onto Kelra. Not enough. Naomi trying to zone everybody up, gets the purple buff just in time. Lord is up right now. Like, this is crucial for Execration to secure. If they don't secure this, this might just be GG for themselves.
In the purple buff over there, we just saw a really good instance of the zoning and the damage that the Veil bring into this matchup here, and which is why Execration is having a little bit of a difficulty actually contesting key objectives and going to team fights and trying to get the good pickoffs because their frontline divers, their backline divers are having a hard time entering because of the timing that Veil has, the timing Justin has to pop off the skills when needed.
Chaknu is low. Sagitno uses the last insanity. Mount Shocker to deter a lot of members here from the Execration from even continuing the team fight. And they managed to reset the Lord, not risking any cheeky steals from Execration.
Lord still up though. Ronin hasn't full committed to it just yet. Good positioning by Justin and Savi right now. Potential choke point here if they spot out any members of Execration, but here comes Execration. The rescue's a little bit too far, but they might just be able to make it to go for the defense.
Yeah, better airstrike. Takes down Veil, not going to be able to secure the Lord though. Ronin may just pay the price. Chaknu gets caught out, gets a beautiful Jeet Kune Do, catches 3, but the final blow catches 3 at the same time. Savi takes out Chaknu there, and he manages to die as he takes down Benedetta in his place, and Ronin are just Ronin into this fight.
They're Ronin in the deep right now. It's Execration because they are in the dark with what they need to do. Actually, that was a good attempt to try to do it, but Kelra's Electro final blow was just a little bit off, by like a pixel or 2 off to the right. That was a good setup and a good bait play potentially by Chaknu because he saw get caught out, but as he was running away, he went back real quick to get the knockup from the Jeet Kune Do, which set up the Electro final blow. But again, Kelra was just a little off. That could have been such a great play for Execration there, but they just, again, they weren't able to do it, and now they are forced to defend here. Good news though is that it seems like Ronin aren't going to be able to make too much out of this Lord push. Maybe,
as the Lord will be able to chunk out a little bit of the HP of that base. Naomi zoning everybody out just to get a little bit more damage out there, as this is the final defense potentially for Execration. They are forcing Ronin back. They're doing a good job there. Chaknu being the sacrificial lamb just to dish out a lot of damage with the Jeet Kune Do. And it's enough to deter the initial push, but this mid lane turret is going to go down. Silent himself is going to go down. It's a 0-for-1 trade so far, but the inhibitor turret in the mid lane is going to go down. Kelra gets knocked up. Damage from Justin is now uncontrollable.
But again, the killing spree for Mark came in big there, actually saved his life. He did have the immortality, and eventually they would have gotten the kill on the Hayabusa. But having that, the burst damage coming from the Justin is big though, but feathered wings. Able to save Itomax there, but Chaknu is going to be able to get a pick off there onto Naomi, but Naomi uses the Hurricane Dance to pin down Chaknu. Mamba looking for a miracle right now to get away, but here comes Mark using the Phantom Execution to go in. He won't have his big burst damage. Here comes the last insanity, the flicker onto Pekka, but Pekka right under tower Execration are not able to chase that any further. They are not going to be able to break down this mid lane tower, as well as Ronin was able to clear out the ways well enough, but Itomax gets caught out, spotted out by the Veil.
The snipe from that Twisty Tornado itself.
Twisty Tornado?
No, I just want to call it the Twisty Tornado.
Okay, we can go for that.
We can go for that for now.
Yeah,
for now. We'll go that for now. But while everything was happening, Benedetta tried to equalize everything and start pushing in towards the bottom lane. Valiant effort, but it's not enough.
Not enough right now. And Execration though, they still have the lineup to be able to defend this well enough, as the glowing wand gets picked up here by Sagetu, so a little bit more damage coming out from him as well. They'll be able to use the last insanity to start off the fight, have a little bit of ticking damage over time, and then eventually the last insanity will come back for burst.
Gets knocked up. Chaknu, I'm not sure why you want to dive that when 3 members of the rest of Ronin is right in front of you. And now inhibitor turret in mid lane is down. A lot of pressure on the side of Execration. Bottom lane is being eyed out. Look at the damage output of the feathered airstrike onto Justin. Force him out. Chaknu wants to get in the back lines. Gets the Jeet Kune Do onto Naomi. Chaknu really eyeing out Justin here. He is overstaying his welcome. He might just pay the price, as Kelra gets pinned down by that Hurricane Dance. Once again, gets the Jeet Kune Do, gets eaten out alive by the Tonus Welcome. The damage output onto Pekka. Pekka low on HP. Chaknu chasing him relentlessly. Naomi gets kicked back, will potentially get killed out. Chaknu,
he still has immortality.
Shield. He has the immortality. He's still diving in. Sagitno with the fatal last insanity takes him down.
And now Ronin Esports are going to be forced to go back there. Good play there by Ronin, and especially Silent, spotting out the situation where Execration split themselves a little bit too far away from Itomax's Farsa. They're going to be able to secure the kill onto that backline mage there, but Pekka going down as well, but that's the Isan Shin. So Ronin still has their ace in the hole in that Veil. Will the Windstorm and the Windblow be enough? Will the combos be enough? With all the wind that Veil can throw out, would be enough to finally take down Execration. But Execration, they're still in this fight. They're still fighting back. They are one of the fighting prides of the Philippines right now, and they're doing everything they can to stay in this tournament, to stay alive in the MPL Invitational.
It's for Execration right now, it's not about, we want to represent the Philippines. We're the best team in the Philippines. No, this is their tournament life on the line. So they're fighting as much as they can. As Ronin, they're doing a good job keeping Execration at bay only on their side. We haven't seen any big pushes aside from that bottom lane push, finally taking down the tier, focusing on the tier 2 inhibitor turret there for the side of Ronin Esports. Cuts down the lane so that not a lot of pressure happens. As that happens, gets the Wave the Dragon, gets suppressed by Chakno. The Winter Trenchant keeps him up alive. Kelra, though, will try to get a lot of damage onto Pekka. Sakin with the backlash, he actually went from the bottom lane. From the bottom lane, he went immediately to the mid lane. Now Sakito's going to be paying the price, but he already did the job. The Immortality is going to pop. Sakito forced to back off there. He is going to get taken out by Silent, no doubt. And it's now a 1-for-1 trade. And the HP's are low on the side of Ronin and Execration as well, so we don't know which way this fight is going to go, but Etomax is going to fall down. That is the huge chunk of the damage that Execration has, and it's going to be hard for them to defend this.
Oh no, that's the main tool that they can use here to defend, but Ronin Esports, they want to be safe. They are going to be going for the Lord. So by the time the Lord starts pushing and gets to the base of Execration, it'll be a full-on 5v5 winner-take-all team fight. That's what we're going to see there. Heartbreaking though for Execration. They spent way too much to try to take down Justin, but Execration are going to try to contest this. Chaknu not going to be able to get there in time though. Shadow kill already used by that Hayabusa, and Chaknu, Mamba cannot delay this any further. He has to go down as fast as he can, so by the time his cooldown timers are done, he'll have enough time to defend with Execration. I don't think that was a right call to try to force Ronin to chase him.
Only 3 members, well, soon 4 members alive to defend there for Execration. Without Chakno to really set the plays, this might just be GG and Execration will be eliminated. We have yet to see if the defense is up for Execration. Lord marching in on over towards the middle lane.
It's already there.
It's only a matter of time before Ronin secures his game 3. We're going to have to see what's going to happen. Kelra gets predicted, gets knocked off, and forced to back off. Lord, though, already in quarter HP, they finally managed to take out the threat. But the actual threat here right now is Ronin and the minion waves. They're trying their best to clear out the minion waves as fast as they can. Mark forced to back off. Justin, low on HP, and that is going to be the game. Ronin Esports eliminates Execration and moves forward in their bracket here at the MPLI.
The second placers of MPL Myanmar, after a slightly disappointing game number 1, complete the turnaround sweep and eliminate fan favorite of the Filipinos, Execration, from the MPL Invitational, secures 2-1. And the pick that changed it all for them was Justin's Veil. And of course, you can't deny the effect that Naomi had on Chaknu. Chaknu couldn't play Chaknu's style of playing the game because Naomi was just there to disrupt him time and time again.
Yeah, that was a good switch up on the strategy that Ronin Esports had. They didn't focus on the carries. They didn't focus on the side lanes. They focused on Chaknu. Chaknu is a playmaker here for Execration, and having Chaknu's Cho being shut down is one of the crucial factors in this entire game itself. Chaknu able to find a lot of good Jeet Kundos, catching 3 people, potentially going in for the Wave the Dragon onto Justin, but Naomi just almost always saving the Hurricane Dance just for Chaknu really was the factor here for this fight.
Yeah, it seems like at one point Naomi just had Chaknu completely read. Like, I know you like going into this shrub, I'm gonna go there first. I know you like going through here when you're going for the rotate, I'm gonna be here to spot you out. Man, Naomi, we really got to see here the importance of having a really good tank support player, knowing to position themselves at the right spot at the right time. That's one of the biggest reasons why they won here. But going back to look at it into the draft, I feel like this was also a game one sort of lost by execution in the draft because they were too highly dependent on Cho's ability to get the crowd control in with the Way of the Giant, with a knockup from the Jeet Kune Do third activation. They couldn't do that. They also had crowd control options in the Farsa with the stun, but then because they couldn't get the position that they needed to get themselves in, which is where Naomi always was, first, they couldn't get that stun because that stun of Farsa is usually used defensively or as a pickoff. They couldn't position themselves well enough for that pickoff for Farsa.
And let's also applaud the fact that Ronin Esports, aside from having the Akai being able to protect the back lines there, and well, Akai actually was the front line at that entire fight, Barat was picked up in order to protect anybody from diving into the back lines, catching out the Cho, catching out the
Benedetta?
The Benedetta, yeah. Every time they tried to go for the finishing blow on towards Justin, Barras was there to protect every single member.
Yeah, it wasn't even just Shaktu and the Benedetta. Sorry, it was actually more of the X-Borg.
The X-Borg, yeah.
Yeah, they were really
Last
waiting
Insanity,
for
yeah.
the last Insanity to either pop off, or the moment that's popped off and Detonus Welcome was still available for the Barras. They're like, yeah, we're gonna eat you. You're gonna get taken out of this fight.
Oh, Last Insanity, you're insane going into my membrane. That's basically what's happened there. But yeah, it's the draft. That draft really dictated the entire game. Just like what you said during game number 2, it's the draft that's going to dictate who's the victor for game number 3. And we saw that Ronin Esports won that fight fair and square, clean, without any contestants whatsoever. And again, we have to attribute it to the fact that Execration also played a little bit recklessly in the early game.
Yeah. That they showed it. Weirdly enough, it's something that you see from Execration from time. Over the years, as a season, they were able to iron that out and fix that up a bit. But you get small glimpses of that Execration carelessness out of all the crazy stuff that they can pull off as a very well-oiled machine and organized. Times that recklessness pops up the worst possible time, and that was the worst possible game 3 of the opening series of the MPLI.
And congratulations, they're moving on forwards in their bracket here, and it's a big task though. It's a very big task. They're potentially going to be facing off against whoever wins against Orange Louver and EVOS, and they're one step closer to their rematch against Burmese Ghouls.
Yeah. I'm excited to see that potentially, but again, Orange Louvre and EVOS as the upcoming tournaments for Execration, because they have potentially found themselves some really great players in Kelra and Mark. Fancy guys are not disappointed about that.
Yeah, that's just going to be the icing on the cake. As we'll break down the entire game number 3 to figure out why and how Ronin victored against Execration. So Wolf, why don't you bring us a lowdown?
I'll bring you the lowdown. Game 1 was sort of a download for Ronin Esports. Game number 2, they kind of, it wasn't an experiment, but they kind of put a measuring jab against Execration. And third game, they knew exactly what they are about to do. My name is Wolf, your analyst. Let's talk about game number 3 on how Ronin Esports eliminated Execration with a reverse sweep fashion, and in a way, if you're looking at just the game, it might look like a comeback for Ronin Esports, but I'll tell you why it's not. I'll tell you how it was planned by the side of Ronin Esports. First is they have identified that Execration wants to play aggressively, like in game number 1. And you know what they say, when your opponents are incredibly aggressive against you, you kind of turtle. But the Ronin Esports team, what they did in order for them to be able to turtle this game is to get all the best wave clears in the game. Farsa was already available for Execration. Ronin Esports instead ported the Veil once again. Such big damage output when it comes to dealing with the minions and even against the heroes. You also have the Barats, which just makes perfect sense against all of the hard push that Execration might be able to do in the first round of the match. Then again, Savvy with his Barats, all he had to do was tank up and just try and be there in front of the lanes, while at the same time clearing the waves. Naomi as Dakai was actually perfect in this game. I think even in game number 1 and game number 2, he was phenomenal. Game number 2 was phenomenal with the Akai, but in this game number 3 was just it was the one that glued together the lineup of this of Ronin Esports. Ronin Esports, they went in with the quote-unquote double core setup. So it's not a funneled core anymore. It's not a funneled carry. Because a funneled carry, you give the retribution to him, you give the jungle to him. But this time, Ronin Esports, at game number 3, just like game number 2, what they did was to have another jungler in the guise of the Hayabusa, while the Yisun Chain just continuously farm. After the patch, the recent patch, the November 24 patch, because of that, we were given the chance to have legitimate junglers in the meta. Execration might have explored this before, but evidently they weren't ready for Ronin Esports. Look at the damage dealt of the Yisun Chain as well as the Veil. This is a big combo, and this is why I say that the Akai is a glue to everyone, because Veil, Yisun Chain, Barats, they deal AoE damage that kind of needs a little bit of lockdown, and definitely Akai provides that. Imagine running into the Veil with an Akai in there, the damage is just immaculate. And you saw how Veil was able to burst down Etomax's Farsa so quickly. Justin was so masterful with his positioning. There was a clash in the bottom that we may be able to see in the highlights where Benedetta was trying to chase him, and I honestly thought that he would be taken out. But with just the proper stage of positioning and his knock-ups, was able to outplay Benedetta in this game. Now, going back to what worked with Ronin Esports, again, we were talking about wave clear and prolonging the game long enough for the double core setup to be available. And then you use your side lanes as your foundation, and you can see the emphasis of Ronin Esports to take care of their mid lane turrets. This will allow the ultimate jungle control of the Hayabusa and the Yisun Chain. It came to the point where Hayabusa, he was able to give some of the buffs to the Yisun Chain because he's able to invade. And every time that Silent and the gang needs to invade, he makes it sure that he communicates with his team. The Akai as well as the Veil and with the help of the Yisun Chain, they were just zoning out the members of Execration while Hayabusa works on the jungle. And it's also it's also critical to take note that Silent's usage of the retribution is also perfect. He knows when to use it, when not to use it. Like when he did for an invade, I think in the third Lord or second Lord timing, he held on to it, but he was still able to steal the buff away from the Lancelot. And actually, even when Execration's Lancelot tried to play perfectly in this game, it was incredibly hard for him because Hayabusa was ready every step of the way. Not only Hayabusa, actually, the entirety of Ronin Esports. They know what they need to do in order to do what they want to do. Alright, what I'm saying is, if they want to invade, there will be the Akai, the Veil, as well as the Barats to zone out their opponents, and then the Hayabusa takes it. When they want to push, there's a lot of zoning out potential. When they want to prolong the game, they know what to do. They understood the fact that the early game and the maybe the few parts, the first half of the mid game, will definitely belong to Execration. And that's what you saw in there. Execration took a controlled the game from the start, but Ronin Esports, what they did was just entirely try and prolong this game time and time again. You can see that the control was already there for Execration, but they weren't able to push that mid lane turret. This is the turret that really helped Ronin Esports secure this game. Without the control of the mid part of the map, Execration cannot push. They cannot take over the jungle. And you can see that Ronin Esports, what they are always doing is just to try to team fights when they can. But if they can't, they just back down. They're trying to outmaneuver Execration every step of the way. And you can see in this highlights that we are looking at now, the mid lane turret is still intact all throughout the game. This is also what Ronin Esports did in the game number 2 match, where they were able to find the win, the victory against Execration. And it only took a matter of time. The pickoffs, Execration were too anxious to get those kills. They are getting out of their base. They are not coordinated anymore because Ronin Esports, whereas Ronin Esports, they were fundamentally sound. They know what they need to do. They know their win conditions. And their win conditions is to prolong the game for the dual core setup to become into full fruition. And what they only needed to do to achieve that win condition is to clear the wave, solidify your side lanes, make sure that your mid lane turret is not pushed, and win the crucial objectives like your turtles, like your lords. Try to invade against the Lancelot and make it so that when the Lancelot already reaches his 6-item slot, he's no longer effective because of the fact that the natural scaling of the Hayabusa and the Yusen is it just trumps the Lancelot no matter what happens. And I think that Execution gave their all for this. Nevertheless, Ronin Esports have downloaded them in game number 1, adjusted in game number 2, and in game number 3, they took it home. Ronin Esports, congratulations for that 2-1 reverse sweep against Execration. That has been my analysis of the game, man. I'm just really amazed of how Ronin Esports adjusted against Execration. But how about you, casters? What do you think about that game?
Well, we think that that game was really a masterclass of how Ronin understands the current meta that we have right now. And again, another big congratulations to Ronin Esports moving on forward after that masterful map control, as Wolf mentioned earlier on.
Yeah, again, we were talking about how this series we determined by how the side lanes fare. We saw that in game number 1. I'm pretty sure other people were able to see it in game number 2. But I feel like in game number 2, we started to see glimpses of the importance of the jungler, the carry, and time.
Yeah.
The patience, extending the team fight or the match if you needed to extend. And again, we weren't able to see game number 2, but I feel like that's what was set up. And by game number 3, we just saw the fruition of all that on-the-go learning that Ronin Esports said, okay, that's what they do. Okay, this is what we need to do. Okay, this is how we're going to be playing this lineup that we want to play. And it just came out as a beautiful showcase of the different kinds of ways you can play Mobile Legends now in the current meta that we have. Hence why they were able to win game number 3 and the series.
Yeah, if you're a team that knows and how to adjust to your opponent's playstyle, you lose game number 1, you're always going to game number 3 or of course game number 5, depending on what series you are on, and that is what Ronin showed us in this entirety. And yeah, talking about how the map control is from Ronin, it was superior compared to Execration. Execration focused on the side lanes, yeah, but let's focus on the fact that if the mid lane tier 1 turret does not fall down, you cannot roam from the top side without any problems. What Ronin did is they immediately took down the top lane, and then because of that, it opened up the top lane jungle and allowed them to really roam across the map that is at hand. And Execration, even though despite they getting the tier 1 turrets on the top, the mid lane is the most important.
Yeah, again, this is what they were attempting, wherein they had the Brody on to hold down the fort until that was why they saw in game number 1, Ronin, of course, really desperately tried to defend that last standing tower at mid because they knew that would be one of their keys to victory, to allow the Brody the space to farm the team. It's a safe lane for him to farm. But at that point, it was just too little too late for Ronin Esports. This time around, though, in game number 3, we saw that once they got to the phase, they had a little bit more breathing room. The fact that they also had the likes of Hayabusa with game number 1 picked out here. It seemed like the lineup that they brought out here for game number 3 fit a little bit more to what they wanted to do in game number 1. And of course, going back again to the fact that the map was just controlled by the roaming 3 of the supports, spearheaded by Naomi on that Akai. Beautiful, beautiful Mobile Legends by Ronin.
Beautiful rotations, and again, it's we were highlighting the fact that it's either a side lane matchup or it's going to be the support tank lineup.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it was who roams better.
Yeah, we saw both actually.
We saw both happen at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's the synergy between those two matches. And beauty from both of these teams. We're not downplaying Execration here. Execration provided a beautiful fight. It was still a good showing from Execration here.
And yeah, people are probably going to be saying that, oh, but they have new players in Mark and Keldra as a little bit of an excuse for Execration, but I feel like it isn't an excuse for them because, again, earlier I said Mark and Keldra, congratulations to you guys for having a great debut. Yeah, you didn't win the series, but you guys had a fantastic debut. In the international scene, where else, man, to make a name for yourselves? I'm really excited to see where Execration take these two new fresh talents here. I feel like what just happened was a team was better than Execration, and that was Ronin Esports. Yeah, there were moments where in game number 3 where we saw the recklessness of Execration early on, but they were able to pick things up and were able to find ways to sort of hold on and potentially find situations for them to turn it around. They just weren't able to turn it around because, again, Ronin just played better. At the end of the day, that's what happened. Not to put down any single player of Execration, but Ronin was just the better team for this situation.
Yeah, and the question here is that is this going to be a trend that we're going to be seeing throughout the entire game? Is it the teams going through the honeymoon period of regularizing the new members of the team, really failing against the teams that just stuck with their guts, or is it just a case for execration?
I feel like it was just this is what Execration showed is going to be a bit of an outlier, with the new players having amazing debuts. Because not to put down any of the new players that we have here in the MPLI, but it's quite rare to see a new player such have a shining debut. If it does happen, though, that all the other new players here showing up here for their teams in MPL Invitational have amazing debuts, then we just witnessed a really great show.
Yeah.
We just witnessed a really great tournament, because imagine having rookies and all of them could be Rookie of the Year or Rookie of the Tournament. That means, hell, we just had ourselves a great tournament, man.
Yeah,
we just saw a treat.
Yeah, and not downplaying the fact that Execration had new bloods. All of the other teams that we have here are a mix of new bloods and the old bloods rejoining their old organization. Of course, this is not the moving forward as somebody to join us on the line here for an exclusive interview here at the MP. Or to who would that be?
For me, the series is game 1 and game number 2.
But of course they're and the EVOS SG.
Yeah.
That's something that Ronin wants. They won against Burmese School Eagles, and the Senate meets them again in Los Angeles. Oh, wait, no, no.
Their bracket. I feel like there's a set up storyline for hotshot team from the Philippines. Let's see how they can handle this. The MPL Invitational, the bracket that we have here, was set up by the champions of each specific region. So the champions in MPLI of the MPL regions from the other from the MPLs of the other regions set up the bracket. What you're seeing on screen right now though is a question posed for the Bahasan Indonesia stream.
It's just a, I think it's just a comment, not a question. He's commenting on R7 and RRQ.
Yeah. Okay.
There's that.
We are seeing that because, again, we have broadcasts in the other regions as well. We have our Indonesian broadcast, our Burmese broadcast, our Tagalog and our Malaysian broadcast, and of course here in the English broadcast. It's a big party here for the MPL Invitational.
And this is another member of the comment section from Indonesia. Gaming Alman is talking about EVOS here. He's supporting it. He uses hashtag EVOSRoar and Viva RRQ, so he's supporting the Indonesian teams without a doubt. And yeah, EVOS Legends, RRQ Hoshi in the same bracket. That's something that we can look forward to here in the MPL Invitational. But for now, we will be going on a short break. When we come back, it's going to be Bicatron Alpha going against Geek Fam in another best of 3 series. Once again, I am Nomad. Alongside with me is Reptar. MPLI will come at you. Don't touch that browser. We'll be right back.
I don't usually go out this late at night to the place where the animals go. But baby, I'm here and I'm watching you move. There's just one thing you should know. Girl, you are my fire, only true desire. Swear I'm not a liar, you should dance with me. You should get to know me, kick it with the boys. Let go of your worries, you should dance with me. Get to know me, kick it with some harmonies. Let go of your worries, you should dance with me.
To the MPL Invitational. Game number 2 is upon us. Bigatron, Geek Fam, best of 3. Another one for the books. We're going to be your casters for this game. I'm Nomad. Alongside with me is Reptar. Reptar, we've seen how great game number 1 was between Ronin Esports and Execration.
Yeah.
Game number 2, though, Bigatron, Geek Fam. What do you want to talk about that?
Well, we were talking about roster shakeups in the off-season for a lot of the teams here in the MPLI, and Geek Fam Indonesia is one of those teams that experienced the biggest, if I'm not mistaken, roster shakeup that they have, because they took out almost their entire team. They only kept an even, now going under the name of Renzi, if I'm not mistaken, and now because of that, they took up their entire MDL team to fill it up.
But before everything else, we would like to give a big thank you to the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy of Indonesia for supporting and making these events possible. They have been working hard to implement the cleanliness, health, safety, and environment protocols across the tourism industry to assure travelers that Indonesia cares. So make sure to put Indonesia at the top of your travel list.
Oh, it's definitely going to be on top of my travel list after all of this. You're seeing there the beautiful clips there of Indonesia. What's it like to travel over to Indonesia? It is a very wonderful, wonderful place. And of course, the One Esports MPL Invitational has partnered with the Samsung Galaxy A series to bring you the most awesome performance for everyone's gaming needs. The Samsung Galaxy A51 and A71. It has big RAM, 8 gigabytes, and up to 120 gigabytes of internal storage, and even more with a 512 gigabyte micro SD card. You can download and play all the games you love.
And man, this is the same phone I have, but now it's the time to make all your gamer dreams come true. Stay fresh, stay chill, and stay focused with Axe. You're hotter when you're chill.
Look at that. Oh, probably shouldn't have knocked over the lamp there over my guy, but there you go. That's the new Axe Ice Chill. You are back here at the MPL Invitation. No, baby, you're still here with us. We were talking about Geek Fam and Bigatron Alpha. I said my piece about Geek Fam. What do you have about Bigatron?
Well, Bigatron is considered as one of the contenders for the MPL title in Indonesia, but sadly they're the team that, much like Execration, that in the Philippines where people want Execration to win the title, Bigatron is one of them that has not secured the title for themselves.
And it happened over in the last 2 seasons of MPL ID. Literally, it is a mix of like, yeah, I feel like they have a good shot. They look strong this year. Oh no, they didn't make it. So they decide to also shake up their roster a bit. It's not a complete overhaul compared to Geek Fam Indonesia, but you are not going to be seeing Kai, Brave, and Matt playing with Bigatron this time around. The lineup that you're going to be seeing, and later on when we flash on the pictures of the teams, is Max, Renbo, Brands, Dreams, Rippo, and Taka. So that's going to be the 6 members of Bigatron that are going to make up that team. And once again, going back to Geek Fam earlier, they got their development team up from the development leagues, brought them up to be the new Geek Fam team, but they still kept Renvi, but you guys know him as Epen. And here's the most interesting thing for me for the shakeup that Geek Fam showed is that they took out their best core player, Toyo, out of their lineup. So this is the fresh new look at Geek Fam, and it's gonna be interesting to see how this team that was once in the MDL is now representing the Geek Fam in Indonesia in the MPL Invitational.
Yeah, but we're not gonna have to be sleeping on Schwan, Frieza, and Baby Ruka though. They're one of the members they're one of the members of Geek Fam that really can prove to be a problem here for Bigatron, especially since this is considered their debut matchup. The same the same thing that Execration did. So we might see some surprising actions coming in from them, some surprising picks, even from the Geek Fam side of things. For Bigatron, we can kind of see what they're favoring towards the YSS and the Chang'o.
And those are the most picked for Brands and Rainbow for during the MPL Indonesia playoffs.
Yeah.
So those are the ones that they like to pick out there. For Geek Fam Indonesia, though, again, it would be the people who would really who follow them in the MDL to have an idea of what they like here. But since you have a hot-blooded trio of Xuan, Frieza, and Baby Ruka, most likely with the focus there, that's probably gonna be a good core lineup of you have one really strong side laner, one really new strong carry player, and then I believe Xuan, if I'm not mistaken, might be filling out the tank role here. Could be different. We still don't know how this Geek Fam lineup is going to be playing out, but so far in the projections we have Xuan playing that tank support role for Geek Fam. Renvi is going to be playing the main support role. Baby Ruka might be the carry here. Frieza, Zuns, and then eventually Despair are going to be filling up the lineup in the side lanes, and Despair as the sixth man. Again, those are just some very rough predictions. It could be very different once we see this new look Geek Fam play out here in this matchup against Bigatron Alpha.
And want to stray away from the conversation between this game that we have right now at hand. Kind of want to see what moves on forward, because whoever wins against Geek Fam and Bigatron Alpha are potentially facing off against the winners between Resurgence and Blacklist International, and that is one doozy of potential opponents. Resurgence is strong in their region. Blacklist kind of shake their roster a bit with the acquisition of Oh My Venus and Wise, but we don't know yet how they mesh well against Blacklist. But it's still Resurgence that's looking like the threat for these Indonesian teams.
What I really like about the acquisition of Wise and Oh My Venus by Blacklist International in the Philippines is that they immediately got two very important players, or two foundational players for their lineup who already have recent international experience. So with that idea, and of course, with them coming from Onyx PH, the resources that ID and PH share when it comes to growing their players and growing their talents, I feel like Blacklist International, despite them thinking they might underperform here because they're new, sort of the same thing with a lot of the newer teams, people thinking that, oh, they're new, it's going to take time for their chemistry to build. No, you already have that international experience under their belt. They're going to be led by Oh My Venus and Wise, and I feel like that Blacklist team, whoever wins in this matchup between Bigatron and Geek Fam are going to be a problem rider, basically.
But Bigatron and Geek Fam is not the only matchup that we have today. After this, we're going to have the Onyx organizations going up against each other. It's Onyx Indonesia going up against Onyx PH. And the final match of the day, which I consider myself as the marquee matchup, it's Omega Esports versus Genflix Arrow Wolf. And all these matches, again, are best of threes.
And that Omega and Genflix matchup we're going to be seeing for the last match of the day is, we have labeled it as a David and Goliath match. Goliath being Omega and David being Genflix Arrow Wolf here because of just the track record that Genflix has showed recently, and then Omega being a really strong team because at the tail end of the MPL Philippines Season 6 in the Grand Finals between Omega and Ben, really got to see a very objective focused match where whoever controls the first two objectives of the match, whoever controls that, they're going to be the ones to actually win it, or even dictate most of the tempo of the game and win it. So it was really, really wild to see that change for the meta in MPL Philippines. And it's going to be interesting to see how Omega has changed their playstyle, or will change their playstyle as we go into that match against Genflix. But again, that's only the fourth match of the game. It's still Bigatron and Geek Fam that we're going to see here.
Yeah, and Bigatron, Geek Fam. Bigatron is the dark horse going into this match, going into this tournament for this bracket. I mean, and will Geek Fam be able to regain their once coveted spot as their franchise was one of the most sought after for the players? Will they be able to bring that back against Bigatron Alpha?
The funny thing that I think about when for Geek Fam here is that really they went from MDL to MPLI. They didn't go from MDL to MPL to I. They just went straight to the Invitational against the big international teams here.
I kind of want to have an extra syllable there. I don't want just the MPL. I want the MPL. I want the one with the I.
I feel like Epen is gonna get his work cut out here for him to really just lead this team. But again, that is Geek Fam. This is now Bigatron Alpha that you're seeing. Oh, I have
But now it's Geek Fam.
Now it's Geek Fam that we're talking about. Despair, Frizz, Renvi, Xuan, Baby Ruka, and Sons. That is the lineup for Geek Fam. That was the MDL lineup. Now the lineup for MDLI.
And I'm interested to see how these relatively greenhorns in the side of Geek Fam face off against the seasoned veterans that is a Bigatron Alpha. I mean, yeah, there are changes left and right, but this is Geek Fam Renvi, the only member left alive from the original lineup.
We have a term here in the Philippines called Kuya that pretty much means older brother, and he has to really fill up this older brother role here very well for Geek Fam as they're going up against Ripple, Max, Dream, Brands, and Haka.
Yeah, it's a big question though. Will we be seeing Saber again after what Ronin Esports showed us? Will we be seeing the Benedetta being banned out or being picked up? I want to see how the rest of the regions, how the Indonesian region actually plays off against each other. We've seen a lot of the Indonesian action in the MPL in Indonesia side of things, but it's completely different. It's an international tournament. Will they be hiding the Indonesian specific strategy against other members of the region, or are we going to see them go all out as we go back to our pretty faithful friend?
So now we're going to be seeing actually Renbo going into the 6-man role for Bigatron.
Yeah.
And it's going to be so Renbo's going to be there as a 6-man support, and it's going to be Brands and Max coming in as their cores and carries. Now that usually means, actually that means a lot of things for the other regions, because they even see the mage as a core type, not really as a support type at times. So this could be either Brands or Max going into the jungle and the mid as their cores from there, or the jungle and the gold lane as their cores, as your typical marksman or gold lane carry.
Yeah.
So now just from the lineup for Bigatron alone, there's already a lot of possibilities. But I feel like again, the possibilities are with the dark horse with Geek Fam, which is of course the team that not a lot of people still know about, but I'm pretty sure at this point the teams already have a good read of them based on the scrims that the international teams have been having. A lot of the teams here, again, we don't see it happen, but you hear of it. Sometimes we get a chance to watch it. The teams all around the region actually play once again against each other in scrims.
Yeah.
And I haven't been able to hear that much from what happened with Geek Fam or Bigatron with what went on with their scrims there. So for us, here's a bit of a introduction to Bigatron and Geek Fam in their status now in the MPL Invitational.
Yeah, as a team that really restructured. We've been highlighting the restructure over and over again, and that is without its merit. Because the restructure process of a lot of these teams means that if they're going into a big tournament, it's called a honeymoon period for themselves, where the players start settling in, as we see Bigatron Alpha settling in quite comfortably in their boot camp right now.
The casters in the other regions call this the blanket buff. And I think the blanket buff for Bigatron might be big here. Could come to play.
It's bigger buff for the Bigatron. Hey. As we are about to jump into the draft right now as we speak. As I was saying, it's the honeymoon period is a big thing for a lot of these teams. Will they make or break, just like what Execration did? Good performance in game number 1, but suddenly fell off during game number 2 and game number 3. Or will they be consistent and secure a 2-0 victory here? As the first set of bans are now in place. Natalia Yuzhong banned out by Bigatron Alpha. Benedetta eyed out by Geek Fam. They don't want any of it.
Yeah, Akai and Baksha might be go-to picks here for either of these two teams, considering how the Indonesian teams really, they don't necessarily go for that many invades, but they do understand the importance of protecting your buffs and your jungle to be able to give room for your jungler to farm up as fast as possible, as efficiently as possible. So Akai and the Baksha might be favorable picks here, but we're seeing the Yuzong, the Brody getting taken out, so Barrett's is going to be open. So leaving Barrett's open, if it will be open once we get into the first pick here, we're definitely going to see that in the first 3 picks, and it could determine what we're going to go for. Now, the Ling is banned out, the Benedetta is banned out, so little by little, you're starting to lose a little bit more favor towards drafting the Barretts, but then again, drafting the Barretts means you have some tools to go up against a lineup that will potentially bring out an X-Borg or the Lancelot, even if they can force out, the Thorn Rose first or the Phantom Execution first before going for Detonus Welcome. But Jawhead gets banned out, and that only means that Selena will be the first pick here for the mage support.
Yep, Selena almost always going to be a viable choice for any of the teams. Bizzle